Yeah, can confirm.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
This thing all starts in 3, 2, 1.
This year, Commodore's Family Pack is more value than ever. You get an education in computers with the new Commodore 64, all these extras, plus 4 very realistic games, like Le Mans Formula One racing, one-day cricket match, and the armchair official America's Cup computer game. The new Commodore 64 Family Pack, $499, keeping you ahead in the game of life.
This is the morning stream. Behave yourselves.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to TMS. It is Thursday, May 26th, 2022. I'm Scott Johnson. That's Brian Ibbett.
Hello.
Hello, Brian Ibbett, on the eve of your trip to Philadelphia.
Another trip, another month, Scott. Another trip.
Yeah. Do they have they got the big bell, the cracked bell, or is that somebody else?
They do. It's called the Liberty Bell, and it's there in Philadelphia.
I mean, that's not the cracked bell. That's not the name.
Not the cracked bell.
Oh.
I remember when our forefathers cracked the bell for independence, and.
Oops. Are you guys going to see that, do you think? Or what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Because Tina's never been to Philly. I've been to Philly. I've seen the bell. I've seen its crack.
Yeah.
I've seen Independence Hall. I've seen the love sculpture. I've seen Sylvester Stallone in bronze at the top of the art museum steps.
Running up
where
there.
Where he ran up there, exactly, and then was immortalized. And then he froze because he looked directly at the art museum and froze and is now there forever.
Yeah, he's never going away, unfortunately.
That's right. Yep.
So the other thing, I was going to say something else about Philly. It was this. Oh, any fandom in the family for like 76ers or Eagles or any of that? Any sports love? No? Okay. So none of that matters.
No, unless they look like, unless they're an easy bet on some weekend when I'm placing bets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have no allegiances, sir.
Nope. What if you're walking down the street? I'm trying to think who's famous. Oh, what if the fresh air lady? I can't think of her name. She does. She records
Terry
out
Gross?
of Philadelphia. Terry Gross. What if Terry Gross suddenly starts walking down the streets of Philadelphia, and you'd be like, "Oh, hey, it's Terry Gross."
I know what she sounds like. I don't know what she looks like. So I could accidentally smear some cheese whiz on her from my wit whiz from my cheesesteak.
Sure.
And I would have no idea that that she's who I got.
She only
That's
comes
what
up
you
to
gotta
about
say, by the way.
She only comes at about your knee. By the way, she's very short.
Oh, is she really short?
Yeah.
So when you get your Philly cheesesteak out there, you say whiz-wit.
Oh, is that so? That's what you ask
with
for?
Cheese whiz.
Whiz-wit?
If you want cheese whiz on there, you say whiz-wit.
So is that like saying with cheese?
That's saying with cheese whiz, because you can get it with cheddar or mozzarella if they have it, provolone, whatever. But you don't want it with any of that.
Why
stuff.
wouldn't you say wit whiz instead of whiz-wit?
That's the weird thing. I don't know why you say whiz-wit instead of wit-whiz.
That's weird. All right, whatever. Look,
like it's whiz-wit.
Yeah.
Like
it's the way Yoda would say it if Yoda lived in
oh,
Philadelphia.
you know what it is? Okay, I'll tell you why. Because it's not. It's adding onions. So when you say whiz-wit, you're saying cheese whiz and wit onions.
Oh.
Because otherwise you order a cheesesteak sandwich with no onions on it.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, that voice. I don't know what to do with it. It's just sitting in my head now.
It's horrible.
It's never going to leave.
It's there forever. That's a Chris Brown thing. He's from that area, and so he says, make sure you order your Philly cheesesteak with no onions on it.
Oh, my Lord. All right, well, we're going to have great
But
stories.
I want it with onions. I want it whiz-wit. I want it whiz cheese and whiz onions.
Yeah. So that's really weird. They just assume that it is onions because that's what else would it be?
The wit is onions. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
By the way, if I don't acknowledge Claire and her all caps diatribe in the chat room, she knew whiz-wit before I looked it up. She knew whiz-wit meant
How
cheese
does she
whiz
know that?
and wit onions.
How do you know that, Claire? How's that a thing in Ireland? That sounds weird to me.
Yeah, it does seem like a weird thing for her to know, right?
Yeah, it really does. Maybe there was a I don't know, a line in
some
some movie. I don't know.
Yeah, some weird wormhole opened up between Belfast not Belfast.
Derry, not Derry. She grew up in Derry.
Well, originally in Derry, yeah.
Yeah. Wherever it is now.
Between her and it is Belfast, yeah. Between Belfast and Philadelphia, where
Maybe they're
she
sister
heard all of
cities.
this stuff. Like
Are they sister cities? Maybe, I don't know. That sometimes happens. It's like
she watches food videos.
Oh, well, okay.
So she
then.
watches Guy Fieri, come in with his half-second video cuts and say, "Oh, this cheesesteak sandwich is the bomb. I'd eat this on a flip-flop.
This is gangster." You know what you told me once? I think it was you. You said you talked about this like second and a half editing they do on that show or something.
Yes.
And I remember being in a hotel sometime after that, and it occurred to me, oh, I'm watching one of these. Why don't I just kind of pay attention to the timing? So I had a little timer, and I would time, how long between each edit.
Cut.
And sure enough, the longest one, and it's always the same in every episode, the longest edit is about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And the 2-second ones are always when he's finally eating the thing and then groaning
and they
about
just
it.
sit on his chewing and his expression on his face. But prior to that, it's like, all right, adding pepper, adding cheese, adding salt. All right, here's a little extra water. All right, here's we mix this all together, and it's like
Yeah, exactly. He and Tally reminds us he is actually a legit nice guy.
Yes,
we're
for
not
sure.
making
No,
fun of that guy. We're not talking down to him. We think he's great, but his show is it's a fun stereotype. We have fun with it.
Come
He
on.
has fun with it clearly. So.
He's the
it's all
Chevy
good.
truck that has all the accessories on it.
There you go.
Basically, is what he is.
There you go.
He is an absolute, genuine, decent human being. But he looked through the catalog and said, "Yep, naked girl mud flaps, backlight covers, sticker, Calvin Ping." Like he's the truck. He's the truck with every accessory on it.
With a bed full of buffalo wings in the back.
Right, exactly.
That's what he's hauling.
Get on a flip flop.
Did he ever really say he'd eat something on a
He
flip
really
flop?
did.
Okay.
That's one of his catchphrases. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
my Lord, I would not eat anything on a flip flop. Are you kidding?
No, apparently, but if he finds a sauce or something that he really likes, he'd eat it on a flip flop.
Well, speaking of people with some monicum of fame,
Some notoriety.
yeah, I'd like to play a tribute
Oh, okay.
to
sure.
one Senator Ted Cruz. I'm not going to get into why. I'm just going to play it. Okay, so he's been in the news. He's been saying things, and this is what I just like to play for him. Yeah, there's more. Yeah, a little bit more. All right, there you go. That's for you, bud.
Man,
Yeah.
that fart door opened, and that was the problem. Is that door to that fart?
Yeah, just that one
opened
door.
up, and that was the problem.
Yeah, you got the one door to the fart. That's all you can do.
Yeah, it's all.
It's just fart.
Exactly.
All right. We got a couple of things I want to get to this morning. In fact, we'll just play this.
Send and receive email.
Received a couple of emails that I thought were
we
good
did.
follow-ups. One's from Jeff Sire, our old pal in Grafton, Ontario, Canada, north of Gilead. Escaping handmaids always welcome, he says. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, a.k.a. Bronco, says, "Hey, Scott and Brian, I just wanted to comment on something Scott said about his dental work." He says, the quote is this, quote, "So I freaked out for nothing," because I didn't end up having to get the tooth out.
Right.
To be precise, he says 99.9% of our freakouts are not useful to us. Have either of you ever thought, well, at least I had some warning of this dire event. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had this incredibly useful time to worry about it, unquote, says Jeff Sire. Well, Mr. Zen Lord freaking Buddha man, I'm glad you found that balance. That's awesome. I think that's great. I wish I could do that more, but I dread dentist things. I just can't help it. It's a dentist.
And I disagree. Like, part of me is freaking out about this MS-150 ride next month, right? It's like, oh my God, it's going to be grueling. It's going to be, what if the weather's bad? What's blah, blah, blah. Because I'm freaking out, and Wendi will absolutely back this up. Because I'm freaking out, I'm doing the things that prepare myself for the ride. I'm doing extra long rides. I had an extra 2 miles onto my ride and saw a hawk that might have wanted to drop a snake on me yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you do all these things, and it's because you're freaking out. If you go into things and say, it'll all work itself out, you might not be as prepared as as you normally would be. So I think freaking out is useful to us.
You need to have some motivation. Okay, look at it this way. Public speaking is probably a good one to narrow in on, right?
Very good one, yes.
Let's say I'm doing, I got to get up and do an intro at Nerdtacular 2015. All right, I'm nervous. I'm freaking out because I know I got to do it. But if
Why don't we say Nerdtacular 2023 just to be safe? But go ahead and let's say.
It's a good point. I just loved 15. 15 was like a high point.
Okay,
for me.
all right.
Just loved that year. Even though that was the year that Veronica and Jury and Schwood gave you the most shit for.
Oh my God!
For stuff.
Yeah, never again. By the way,
they were terrible.
Again.
They were terrible that year. But anyway,
they're so mean to me.
They were. I didn't think it was fair, for the record. But anyway, so. Getting up and doing that, if I was just kind of, whatever, I'll just get up there. Yeah. I don't think that's good. I think it's good that you're a little bit like, all right, well, I want to do this right. It's going to be a lot of intense eyeballs on me. I want this to go well. And, I don't want to just phone it in. So I think that there's some value to that. The problem is people that catastrophize. Catastrophize?
Yeah.
Not size.
That's good.
Fies? Size. Fies. It is
catastrophize because it's catastrophe, not catastrophe.
But wait, what if I want it to be catastrophe? Because that's great. That's a cool name.
I'm experiencing a real catastrophe right now, Scott.
Yeah. It's just something sounds wrong about it. Anyway.
Catastrophize.
It just sounds weird, doesn't it? It's like May the 4th be with you. It's throwing me. Anyway, so it's when you do that where you're like, well, I just know this, my house is going to explode tonight because I smelled gas earlier or whatever. Like, as human beings, we're meant to have warning signs. We're meant to go, there could be a saber tooth here. Like, we've evolved to be prepared or nervous, and then we act accordingly. I think what Jeff's probably getting at is, we probably I do this. I think worst case scenario, partly because I know it won't happen. But it's not good for me, So he's right in that way. But Jeff, you got to have some, you can't just sit around.
Yeah, exactly. It's the it's the tensing up before the fall, or I know there are some benefits to some kinds of freakouts.
Yeah. Although, if you were super stoned or drunk and you were falling and you didn't tense up, you might not get as hurt.
No, it's true. That's what they say, that's why babies do so well in car accidents, because they don't tense up and they're less likely to break bones.
Yeah, and the guys
also
the drunk,
because they're much better drivers than adults.
Yeah, that's true. They shouldn't, they shouldn't be driving. They wreck a lot, but yeah. Drunk drivers always come out cleaner usually, because I hate that, but they come out less hurt or less injured or less dead because they tend to be more relaxed when they crash. So, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I'm coming around to you there, Jeff. Not saying everyone gets stoned or high. I'm just saying, just
yes, please don't. Yes,
find balance.
By the way,
life.
I'm all checked in for my flight. So
fantastic! Woo! Yes. That's great.
Yeah, we'll see where I end up. I know where I end up. I'm B45, so we'll see. That's usually like, all right, we're going to be near the back of the plane. I got no problem with that. Put me in the back, whatever. Yeah. As long as not the very, very, like the last row that by the toilets. Thank you very much.
Sure.
But we should have no problem getting either a window middle or aisle middle. So, no problem.
That's fine. You don't want to be next to the can, though. That's no good.
I don't want to be next to the can. Like, middle seat doesn't recline next to the can. Thank you very much. No. That's why. It's an old a joke from an old friend of mine who, basically says that, when you're sitting there at the check-in desk, back in the day when you always had to check in for your flight, you couldn't do it online. You had to check in at the airport for your flight. You're sitting there and they're going tick, 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 on their keyboard. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, okay. And what? Where are you flying to? Oh, okay. Tick, 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 tick. All right. Middle seat. Tick, 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 back row. Tick, tick, doesn't recline. Tick, 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 near the toilet. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, sir. Here's your ticket.
Yeah. And then someone does like they did to Elaine and slap a sticker on the luggage that says Hawaii, and they shove it in the other thing. Right. Well, anyway, another email from Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
Okay, different, not Jeff Sire, but a Jeffrey,
different guy. Says, "Hey Scott, I talked to a friend of mine. This is about the Target throwing all the bicycles and the
bikes
dumpsters.
in the dumpster. Yeah." Mm-hmm.
He has an explanation. He says, I talked to a friend of mine whose wife, or a friend of mine's wife, who worked for a Target for several years in the 90s and early 2000s. She told me the reason they stopped donating merchandise was twofold. So they actually, I guess they did, and then they stopped. Here were the reasons. First, they donated some merchandise to give away at a fundraiser for kids organizations. One of the items broke and a child got hurt. Target got sued for quite a lot of money and lost. The manufacturer couldn't be sued because the item was not sold. So I guess that makes that law different. If it was sold, then it would have been the manufacturer's liability. If it's just given away by the retailer, it's theirs.
That's interesting, right? Because sometimes those floor models are like those might have been floor models that they tossed in the dumpster.
Yeah.
They sold all of the boxed up ones, and they can't control like what people may have done inadvertently to the floor models that.
Right.
Yeah,
There's always
okay.
more to this
All
stuff than we think. That's what I'm learning here. There's always more. Always more than you think on the surface of something. Anyway, they then go on to say, secondly, at around the same time, they donated a bunch of toys to charity, which provided daycare for working mothers in an area or an inner city area. What they had found was that daycare allowed the kids to take the toys home in boxes, and the parents returned them to Target for full refunds. Oh, Lord.
You know what? Fine. Well, it's like
That's really
I mean,
funny.
that kind of sucks for Target, but
Yeah. What that tells me is
Wow.
people need money. Is what that tells me.
it tells me people need money, and maybe Target before they donate need to do something to the box, like cross out the UPC code or something that.
Yeah.
Listen, Target's return policy is notoriously easy to fudge anyway. There was some comedian who once said, "You can take things that you can't even buy at Target back to Target for a refund."
Yeah, they'll swap. They're pretty open about that stuff. He finishes by saying, at that point, the corporation decided to only make cash donations to charities. I think I understand all that, but if I were Target, I'd lobby for a change in that law about liability because
It still feels like it's wasteful. Like
wasteful.
Those bikes could have easily been given, and something you just do something. Maybe you donate them to a bike store that can check them out, like make sure they're good and not damaged or going to cause problems, and then that bike store donates them, and and then you guys split the tax write-off or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something. I don't know what. There's got to be a solution that isn't throwing them all in a dumpster.
Exactly.
It's just so wasteful, and that just comes down to probably just a regulatory / law problem. So fix that, and you're golden. Or give them to Walmart. Maybe Walmart wants to sell them.
Sure.
Maybe just give it to your lesser cousin Walmart and let them deal with it. How about that?
Your lesser cousin.
Brian, so we do Tadpole
Yes.
feud on Wednesdays, and I
do.
guess we're at the end of a line on our current survey. So
Pretty close. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got one question left that I can use. Technically, I've got two, but I'm going to be honest. One of them is going to be difficult to use as much as I would like to. You want to know what it is? I'm not gonna end up using it.
Okay, what is it?
The question is, name your favorite Scott Johnson metaphor.
Oh.
Now, this was submitted by a listener, and then I put it in the last survey, not the current survey,
Yeah.
but the last survey. And there's so much in here. Number one, 594 answers, and 200 and almost 300 people passed. So about half of the people passed answering this question, or put something like, too many to think of, I can't remember any. And then a lot of people just decided, metaphor, that means anything. So like, that really burns my cheese is a,
Yeah.
or grates my cheese.
Yeah.
Or
I think
so
burns
many
my
people
cheese
put-
is one I say all the time.
Yeah. A lot of people put something relating to plums. Which is that is a metaphor, right? Having no plums or leaving no plums is kind of a metaphor of something.
I guess so. It's more of a repeat
It's
of the
a riddle.
Yeah. So
Both somehow somebody felt was a
both is not a metaphor.
Both is a metaphor. Pulling a Johnson. Okay, that's a metaphor. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hold on to your butts. Not a metaphor.
No.
Let's see.
No making out or touching butts. That's not a metaphor. It's just advice.
Nope. The couch is burning, but you only want to focus on the clean windows. It's a great, it's a great metaphor, but I don't remember you ever saying that. But I believe you. Straw full of marbles. Great marbles. Great.
Oh, my straw full of marbles. Yeah.
metaphor.
Yeah, like memory.
Putting the horse in front of the cart.
Yeah.
You've said many times,
Yeah.
and it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Chester the Tiger, not a metaphor. Man Wiener, not a metaphor.
No.
Mad Max Fury Road, Definitely not a metaphor.
No, that's just a movie.
Shit potatoes.
That's just a freaking movie. And a shit potato is just is just me trying to not drop the F-bombs. All that is.
Pleasure, not a metaphor.
No.
Fart blood. Okay, maybe. Maybe. Anyway, so parking lot tacos, not a metaphor. So the problem was going to be twofold. Number one, it was going to be trying to sort these all out into like, an answer that would be usable.
Yeah.
And then number two, obviously the bigger problem was explaining before you guys even gave your first guess that 80% of the tadpole doesn't know what a metaphor is.
Yeah. You guys struggle with that term, do you? So it seems like.
Yeah.
Anyway, these are just a list of dumb things Scott says. That's the category.
Yeah, that's probably the way the question should be. Name your favorite dumb thing Scott says.
Yeah,
and
why not that?
But then we need to give people a choice because otherwise there's too many variations and things that I'd have to sort through. That would have taken me hours to go through and turn into a list. But thankfully, we have 16 questions right now that can be answered without a whole lot of fuss. If you go to tiny.cc/tadpole survey, and you can capitalize that any way you want, but I just, do it all lowercase just to be safe. Somebody's going to I typed capital vowels and it didn't work. But I did one where it's capitalized tadpole and survey, capitalized just tadpole, everything lowercase. Anyway, tiny.cc/tadpole survey. And,
nice.
And don't you go there. You don't need any advanced knowledge of what the questions are, Scott.
Yeah, I'm not looking. I did bring it up for the chat to see, but I'm not looking at that.
Okay, good. And don't worry. I got probably over 100 submitted survey questions from everybody, but rather than do a big 80 question survey that feels massive and painful for everybody, we'll just do these quarterly, and I'll do 16 or so questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it was helpful, I would send that URL to my 82-year-old mother, and she could test the caps thing since that's all she types in. But Claire is like my 82-year-old mother and did it for us.
Yeah, she'll test that. All caps didn't work.
All right. Okay, great. Well, that's great. Again, tiny.cc/tadpole survey. Everybody at home, even when you're not here live, those episodes that we have so much fun with on Wednesdays, you can be a part of it by answering the survey.
That's right. And so many people ask Jeannie every single day, how do I get to the Tadpole survey? Where's the Tadpole survey?
How do I submit a song request?
I didn't get an invite to the most recent survey. Well, here's your invite, people.
This voice we've given
that
them.
Voice. Yeah, it's the General Tadpole voice.
General Tadpole.
I didn't get the Tadpole survey.
Excellent use of our accidental voices. I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, I do know this, though. Look at this, everybody. This music right here, this means something. Welcome, everybody. Amy, Red Fraggle, back to the show, talking books and what we should be reading. In fact, the segment's called Read This with Amy. Amy, welcome back.
Oh, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, groovy. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I've had about a similar week to most mothers in this country this week, I think. I'm not going to dwell on that, I promise. However, I have to tell a story.
Okay. Oh, I'd like to hear a story, and let's hear a story.
It's a picture is 2012.
All right.
And it's December of 2012.
All right.
I have just gone through a very contentious divorce and custody battle. And my ex, who is from South Africa, they've taken the kids on a vacation to South Africa. And there's this little nagging feeling in the back of my head that I'm not 100% sure he's going to come back with them.
Oh, geez.
Then my husband says, oh my God, somebody shot up the elementary school that I went to.
Whoa. He went to...
He went to Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook,
yeah.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so he actually he was glued to it all day long because he had people that he knew had kids that went to that school. Now, none of them were any of the kids that were killed, but that was super stressful time. So this week, I have been not so mentally great.
Yeah.
I'll bet you have, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
my
on
that's bad.
on that note, I was like, I just could not pull my crap together at all
Yeah.
to come up with like, a good clip or anything like that. So I thought instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a section of a book it is a children's book
Yeah.
by an author from Newtown, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And it is a book that my husband gave me. So without further ado,
I like this. This is. I'm
do
actually
too,
really
yeah.
looking forward to this. All right, you take it away as you will.
Adam looked up at the golden cock on the church steeple.
Jeez.
Tell me, he said, will the soldiers come today? Will they march up the hill? Adam and the cock were friends. The boy knew it if the cock didn't. After all, the cock lived high in the air, and he was covered with gold. Not gilt, but real gold. Nothing less. Every morning, Adam looked up at the cock. Did he swing to the north? To the south? To the east? Or to the west? The way the wind was blowing told something about the weather. The golden cock looked small against the sky, but if Adam and the cock had been standing together on the ground, the cock would have been the taller. And if the cock had been on the ground, Adam would have seen the bullet holes in him. There was one even in his proud gold tail feathers. So, that is from...
Wow.
It's like you picked that specifically for Scott. I
Yeah,
feel a little shut out.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
a lot of.
so
a lot of cocks.
here's what I will tell you. I was struggling with this all week. I was like, man, I don't know what book to pick for this week, and I've just got no mental capacity. And so you guys all love Chuck, right? You can thank Chuck for
We
this
do love
one.
Chuck. Chuck is great.
Because
Yep.
Chuck went, I've got it. I've got the answer. It's a children's book, and it's got the word cock all over it.
So wait, we're going to assume here that this children's book features a rooster, a golden rooster of some sort.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what anybody else is thinking.
Yeah, I don't know
we
what
were
all
talking
their
about, but that's-
dirty little minds were thinking, but
It does indeed.
what's the name of this
it
book?
is- the name of this book is Adam and the Golden Cock by Alice Dalgleish, and I apologize, I did not look up how to pronounce her last name, but I'll put it in the Discord and everything. The interesting thing is that the golden cock is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is atop a steeple in a church in Newtown, Connecticut. And the story is actually about the American Revolution and Rochambeau and his troops coming through. Like, that's why Adam says at the very beginning, like, will the soldiers come today? And so it's basically, it's about this little boy and this constant thing that was this weather vane shaped like a golden cock.
Nice.
I
love
it's a charming little story, but it's hilarious to read it because seriously, like it's like reading something on the campus of the University of South Carolina, man. It's like, yep, see, it's a real thing. Adam and the Golden Cock.
Adam and the Golden Cock. I love the art. Let's see. The artist is Leonard Weisgard did the illustrations for this, and I really like that style. It's an old style, like because this book came out in what 59 or something. 50s?
Yes, 1959 is when it came out, and yeah, all the illustrations in the book they're in that style where it's very like he's using white, black, and gold. Like that's it. Yeah, and cool. They're lovely little illustrations, and it's just a little kid's book.
Back then, that was more about the limitation of the printing process, but artists would use that to their stylistic advantage and say, well, I got 3 colors to work with, so I'm going to make this really contrasty and
it makes
cool.
it really cheap for the printer.
Yeah. But it's almost kind of I don't know. There's a certain look to 40s, 50s, and 60s era art, pop art and stuff that I just cannot get enough of. And it's always like this monochromatic, way less use of color. Often the colors are shifted off a little bit and they shouldn't be. Something about that time is totally fascinating to me. Comics are really weird that way as well.
If you're gonna read this book to your child, I would say invest in a soundboard app and replace the word cock with a burglar.
Yeah,
and play
with a
that
chicken
every
noise.
single time.
That's a great idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or otherwise,
As Action News continues its round-the-clock coverage.
yeah, you're going to get round the clock coverage, and you don't want that. Well, that's great. There's nothing wrong with this. Let's recommend it. Adam and the Golden Cock, available pretty much everywhere. Goodreads has it at almost a full 5-star rating. People love it. It's old, but who cares? If you can find a copy. Oh, looks like Amazon's got, let's see. You can actually buy it for $38 for the library binding, or the paperback for $10. It's still a thing.
Yeah, I mean, and the copy that we have is actually purchased from a collection from the Baltimore County Public Library. So there you go.
Oh, there you have it.
It was just a thing, like Chuck decided he wanted to have a copy of it, so he went and, got it from a book finder. And there's like all these little notes from some little kid back in the day. It says, this book belongs to, and there's a little boy's name in there. And stuff. So it's cute. Yeah.
This book belongs to Harry Peters.
Harry Peters. Very nice. That's a perfect name for someone to own the Golden Cock. Very nice. Well done. I love it. This is great. And also, nothing wrong with a little children's book reading, everybody. I love reading.
Just needed a little palate cleanser,
Yeah, yeah. I like that. It was a good...
It's a good choice.
Good light thing for today. I appreciate that.
I agree.
Right.
My wife and daughter, is Carter in the chat? I don't want to throw her under the bus. They were up there crying today over this still, because it's horrible. And, we're getting new details that are making it worse. And so they're super upset. And I don't know. I kind of needed this. So you did a really nice thing for us, the listeners, and everybody. That was really nice.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. Well, I have to agree. I was also, shedding some tears this morning as well. So I was glad to have this as a way to, like I said, just give everybody a little giggle.
Yep.
And because we're all 12.
That's right. We're all 12, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Enjoy your 12-year-old mentality as you age, everyone. It's Amy Robinson, a.k.a. Red Fraggle 3, wherever you want to find her. She's a good TikTok follow, by the way. Go follow her there.
Yeah, go. Okay, so I made a thing. And I posted